Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Oldham County Fiscal Court. I'm Judge Executive David Vogel. It's 2 p.m. here on the 19th day of September, 2017. I'd like to ask everybody who's able to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you have a cell phone with you today, please turn it to off or vibrate. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Magistrate Likens.
Here.
Magistrate Tice.
Here.
Magistrate Leslie.
Here.
Magistrate Greenwell.
Here.
Magistrate Hounds.
Here.
Magistrate Eldridge.
Here.
Magistrate Dye.
Here.
Magistrate Logsdon.
Here.
Judge Vogel.
Here. Having all members of the fiscal court present, this meeting is now in session. Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion?
Judge, under J, Jail Committee, number 2, I'd like to strike that off.
All right. Ready to strike number 2 on jail committee? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Time now to have our reading of our minutes from our meeting on September 12th, just a week ago, and I'll ask our clerk, Sheila Fair, to please read those minutes.
September 12th, 2017. The Oldham County Fiscal Court convened at a special meeting at 2 p.m. with Judge Executive David Vogel, County Attorney John Carter, and the following magistrates in attendance: Brent Likens, Wayne Tice, Bob Leslie, Steve Greenwell, Chris Hounds, Kevin Eldridge, Bob Dye, and Michael Logsdon. Motion made by Magistrate Leslie and seconded by Magistrate Logsdon to approve the agenda. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Leslie and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to approve the meeting minutes of August 15th. Motion carried unanimously. Public comment. Becky Zocklin announced the annual document shredding event Saturday, September 16th from 9 to 12 at the fairgrounds. Scott Harris, County Engineer, introduced Derek Shade, the new engineer in training for the county. Alan Williams of 1803 Oldham Place spoke to the court regarding concerns relating to runoff from the O'Reillys and Crystal Lake subdivision. Bid opening for the debris boom, Westport Park. The following sealed bids for debris boom at Westport Park were open and read aloud for the record. Elastec, $16,293. Bid opening for the road resurfacing Ballard Glen. The following sealed bids for road resurfacing Ballard Glen were open and read aloud for the record. Hall Contracting, $164,228.36. Louisville Paving, $138,743.40. Matt Construction, $184,068.47. Riverside Paving, $120,252. Wingham Paving, $129,880.66. Bid opening for the road resurfacing at Cardinal Harbor, Shiloh Lane. The following sealed bids for road resurfacing Cardinal Harbor, Shiloh Lane were open and read aloud for the record. Hall Contracting, $751,029.94. Louisville Paving, $889,878.52. Matt Construction, $887,367.94. Riverside Paving, $723,339. Wingham Paving, $727,954.32. County Administration, payables. Motion made by Magistrate Logsdon and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to approve the payables. Motion carried 7-2. Magistrates Greenwell and Dye voted no. Contract agreements and resolutions. Kentucky 911 Services Board Grant. Motion made by Magistrate Logsdon and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to authorize the Judge Executive to sign the Kentucky 911 Services Grant Agreement relating to logging recorder equipment for the Oldham County Dispatch. Motion carried unanimously. Environmental Covenant for Highway 146 and 393 in Buckner. Motion made by Magistrate Leslie and seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to authorize the Judge Executive to sign the Environmental Covenant for county-owned parcel 31-300-00-7A at intersection of Highway 146 and Highway 393, Buckner. Motion carried unanimously. Lease renewal for the state HVAC inspector office space. Motion made by Magistrate Tice and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to authorize the judge executive to sign the lease renewal agreement relating to office space leased in the Fiscal Court building for the state HVAC inspector. Motion carried unanimously. Nugent Sand Company Amendment to Lease Agreement. Motion made by Magistrate Likens and seconded by Magistrate Tice to authorize the judge executive to sign the lease agreement with Nugent Sand Company relating to sand and gravel dredging on the Ohio River. No vote. Motion made by Judge Vogel and seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to table this item until further review. Motion carried unanimously. Resolution and Legal Services Agreement, Opioid Epidemic Litigation. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to remove from the table consideration of the resolution and legal agreement for the opioid epidemic litigation tabled at the previous meeting. Motion carried 8-1. Magistrate Leslie voted no. Motion made by Judge Vogel and seconded by Magistrate Dye to authorize the judge executive to sign resolution number 0109-1217 and legal services agreement relating to the opioid epidemic civil lawsuit. Motion carried 5-4 on a roll call vote. Judge Vogel and the following magistrates voted yes: Tice, Hounds, Eldridge, and Dye. Magistrates Likens, Leslie, Greenwell, and Logsdon voted no. Committee reports and recommendations. Bid award for the self-dumping hoppers for recycling center. Motion made by Magistrate Likens and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to award the self-dumping hoppers project to Uline for $18,875. Motion carried unanimously. Bid award detention center goods and services. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to award the inmate medical services bid to Southern Health Partners for $763,716. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Likens to award the inmate food services bid to Kelwell Food Management. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Likens to award the inmate commissary bid to Kelwell Food Management. Motion carried unanimously. Roads Committee for the Erosion Control Bond Release, Mount Tabor Cell Tower. Motion made by Magistrate Hounds and seconded by Magistrate Greenwell upon the recommendation of the county engineer to release the $3,000 erosion control bond for Mount Tabor Cell Tower. Motion carried unanimously. Utilities Committee Stormwater Management Facilities Maintenance Agreement. Motion made by Magistrate Eldridge and seconded by Magistrate Greenwell to adopt the Stormwater Management Facilities Maintenance Agreement. Discussion followed. Magistrate Leslie called to question. Main motion to adopt the Stormwater Management Facilities Maintenance Agreement carried 8-1. Magistrate Dye voted no. Human Resources Committee, Community Center Assistant Job Description. Motion made by Magistrate Leslie and seconded by Magistrate Logsdon to approve the job description for Community Center Assistant. Motion carried unanimously. Human Resource Committee, Employee Handbook Revision, Email Communications. Motion made by Magistrate Leslie and seconded by Magistrate Logsdon to approve the Employee Handbook Revision relating to email communications. Motion carried 8-1. Magistrate Greenwell voted no. Personnel actions. Planning and Development. Motion made by Magistrate Likens and seconded by Magistrate Logsdon to hire Scott Thompson as electrical inspector at $21.54 an hour effective September 13th. Discussion followed. Magistrate Leslie called for question. Main motion to hire Scott Thompson carried 8-1. Magistrate Greenwell voted no. Dispatch. Motion made by Magistrate Hounds and seconded by Magistrate Dye to appoint Jerry Nauert as interim dispatch director at ex-pay $26.01 an hour effective September 1st, not to exceed 90 days. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Hounds and seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to appoint Jason Smizer as interim dispatch assistant director at ex-pay $21.42 an hour effective 9/17/17, not to exceed 90 days. Motion carried unanimously. Police. Motion made by Magistrate Likens and seconded by Magistrate Greenwell to hire Officer D. Brent Wilson and Officer Jared Ellison at $20.17 hour base rate effective 9/13/2017. Motion carried unanimously. Board appointments. Planning Commission. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell and seconded by Magistrate Tice to approve the following reappointments to the Planning Commission. Sam Finney with a term to expire September 3rd, 2021, and Laura Bonet with a term to expire September 17th, 2021. Motion carried unanimously. Stormwater Board. Motion made by Magistrate Eldridge and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to approve the reappointment of Tom Springer to the Stormwater District Board with a term to expire September 1st, 2021. Motion carried unanimously. Public comment, none. Executive session. Motion made by Magistrate Tice and seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to go into closed session pursuant to KRS 61.810C to discuss proposed pending litigation. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Leslie and seconded by Magistrate Logsdon to come out of closed session. Motion carried unanimously. Announcements. Magistrate Logsdon stated the red light at corner of 329 and 22 is helping traffic. Several accidents reported at Dove Road and 329 bypass, so use caution, and turning lanes at Old 329 are coming along. Magistrate Dye recommends Spectrum customers call ahead for an appointment when visiting the Crestwood Customer Center. The challenge walk is Saturday, September 16th, 10 a.m. at Windlemore Park. Magistrate Hounds provided an update on the redecking of the bridge at Floyd's Fork at Ash Avenue. It's down to one lane, and the repaving of 362 should be complete by mid-November. Magistrate Greenwell attended the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony at Pee Wee Valley Fire Department and thanked them for the invite. Magistrate Tice stated the new traffic light at Buckner at 146 and Fox Run is helping with traffic and thanked KYTC. Magistrate Linkins announced the Maintenance Committee continues its tour of county-owned buildings in 2 weeks. Judge Vogel announced a traffic light will be installed at intersection of Commerce Parkway and 393 by the end of October, and the annual document shredding event is Saturday, September 16th from 9 to 12 at the fairgrounds. Motion made by Magistrate Eldridge and seconded by Magistrate Logsdon to adjourn the meeting. Motion carried unanimously. The meeting was adjourned at 4:28 p.m.
You've heard the reading of our minutes from the previous meeting, September 12th. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Are there any corrections?
Judge, I just have one question.
Sir?
For the listening audience and myself as much as anybody, under dispatch, under personnel actions, it says the dispatch assistant director at XPay. What is XPay?
I guess it means the extra salary. Is that what you meant by that, Sheila? You
Oh,
put
I
it
did.
in there.
I
You
did.
put it in there. I don't.
That was the motion, and that's what was on the personnel action.
And it was on the motion last week whenever we had this meeting.
Right. Well, you get, if you temporarily are assigned additional duties, you're given an 8% bump.
And both of them says not to exceed 90 days, so I guess that's the reason. Thank you.
It's temporary. Okay. Extra amount for a temporary period of time. All right, anybody else? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Time now for public comment, the time during our meeting when anybody in the community can address the fiscal court, and we're happy to have Becky Zockline step forward. All right, Becky, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Good afternoon, gentlemen. This week, I'd like to announce our community tire collection event. And this is an event that is provided by the state of Kentucky through their Department of Environmental Protection. It comes around to Oldham County once every 3 years. It's open for any Kentucky resident. It is not open for tire retailers or anyone who collects tires commercially. So it's not a commercial ventures whatsoever. So it's an opportunity for farmers, for residents to dispose of waste tires over this 3-day period. It's coming up this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 9 to 3 a.m. At the State Highway Garage off of Highway 393.
All right. And anybody have any questions on that? All right, Becky, and thank you. I know we had our shredding event last weekend at the fair and grounds, and we actually, demand exceeded capacity there. We had so many people turned out that the shredding truck was filled to capacity before everyone could be served. So we apologize for that, but we want to let people know also that the shredding event is not for commercial shredding. If you have things from your office or business, you have to call the shredding service yourself. But
And we're very fortunate to be able to offer this. This is done through the courtesy of a private business, Paper Predator, out of Shelbyville. And I do want to say that shredding services will become available at the recycling center at a near future date. We don't know yet. We're waiting for the machine. And this is coming to us free of charge from Shelby County.
Also, we all have a paint and hazardous household materials collection coming up as well. Why don't you
I'll save it for
announce
the
that
next
as well?
Yeah, I'll save it for the next meeting.
Well, no, I just asked you to announce it today,
Oh, I'm
so you
sorry,
have
I'm
to go
sorry.
ahead.
Okay. The Household Hazardous Waste event is October 21st. There's, again, that is also for households, for residents. And you're cleaning out your garage and you have mystery jars or oil-based paints, spray paints, pesticides, fertilizers. You can bring all those to this event. And that's all day, Saturday, the 21st,
At the fairgrounds.
at the fairgrounds. Yes.
Can't get that out enough, because people have things to get rid of. Okay, thank you. Anybody else like to address the fiscal court here at open comment? Seeing no one, I'll close the public comment and go on to the first item on our agenda today. I believe Sheriff Sparrow is here, and he would like to notify the court about an appointment he's made to the Sheriff's Merit Board.
Judge, members of fiscal court, ma'am, thank you all very kindly. We won't be but just a second, but, excuse me. Back earlier this year, we lost one of our merit board members, Mr. Orrin Clore, and he served with the merit board with the sheriff's office for many years. And it took me a while to replace Mr. Clore, and I have a very dear friend of mine, Mr. Gene Crady, which I wanted to come up today and introduce to the fiscal court, Mr. Gene Crady. Mr. Gene Crady is a retired truck driver. As a matter of fact, he used to drive he drove for Kenny Rogers and delivered his sound equipment for him throughout the United States, wherever he was performing. So Mr. Crady is a lifelong member or resident of Oldham County, and I just wanted to bring him to you today and introduce you to him and him to you. And if you have any questions, please feel free.
Anybody have anything they'd like to ask Mr. Crady or the sheriff? Now, we have 5 members on the Sheriff's Merit Board.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
The Merit Board examines issues that may arise within the Sheriff's Department among the sheriff and the deputies to reach a fair adjudication of that. So it's a important position, although we're fortunate we don't have too much disagreement between the sheriff and his deputies. I can't think of any. It all works very smoothly. So, but we appreciate your service.
Thank you for the
Gene,
opportunity.
thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you very much, Judge. We appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
Right, I think we'll go on now to take care of the bills here under county administration payables. We've added another bill to the front there that actually came in and through oversight by the county judge. It didn't get forwarded to the Treasurer's Department until last minute, but so we have that invoice from our sculptor for the Colonel Oldham statue, and then we have our other bills. So when you're ready to approve them, we'll take a motion in that effect.
Judge, I move we pay the payables.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion on that?
Judge,
Yes, sir.
there's just one thing I think people need to take note of, and that's the statue that is on the front of the payables. And I think that you should get some recognition for the fact that you've gone out and gotten a variety of people to donate to this cause for the county, and thank you, and I give you credit for that.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. And we're planning, the sculptor, Mr. Weir, is working on the statue. Deputy Judge and myself visited his studio last week, and we're happy to see the progress being made. We expect to dedicate this statue on Oldham County Day of next year, and would like to have a number of Revolutionary War reenactors here and others to celebrate the dedication of the statue. forgotten the exact number, but we received approximately $150,000 in donations toward creating the statue and other accoutrements that'll go with it when it gets placed. So, are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 8-1. Next item on the agenda here has to do with environmental control, and that has a carcass removal grant. I believe Barbara Rosamond from Animal Control would like to acquaint the clerk with that motion.
Good afternoon. I would like for the court to accept a grant in the amount of $2,500 from the State Department of Agriculture for carcass disposal and to authorize me as the Director of Animal Control to administer said grant.
I'd like to make that motion, Judge.
Second?
I moved and seconded that we apply for and receive a $2,500 grant from the Governor's Office of Agricultural Policy to help dispose of animal carcasses here in Oldham County.
Correct.
And we do match some of this with our own
Yes.
funds, and I believe there's a third organization that contributes to this as well.
That is correct. This is a matching grant that the State Conservation District Office also gave us money, and the State Ag Department is matching that.
And this covers what used to be referred to as roadkill,
Yes.
and also
Also farm animals.
deceased farm
Yes,
animals
deceased
that
farm
need to be
animals
removed.
and large roadkill, yes. We do compost many of the carcasses, small carcasses, and composting is very effective means of environmentally friendly carcass disposal. We would do larger animals, we just don't have the truck and the equipment and the manpower, to get them to the composting station. So this helps us comply with state laws that regulate the disposal of downed livestock.
Right. You might just take 1 minute to explain the composting process to those who haven't heard about it previously.
Several years ago, I went to UK and took a class on carcass composting, and it is done on many farms, and we've been doing it at the county animal shelter for about 7 years now, and it's like an above-ground burial, and you use manure from livestock-type animals, straw, sawdust, ground up tree branches. Road department's always giving us, ground up branches. So it is excellent recycling, and this creates a heat that breaks down the dead animal and turns them into compost. There is virtually no odor involved in this, and it doesn't get hot enough, like 212 degrees, that it could ever burst into flame like a hay bale can, but it stays at about 197 degrees in the center, and it slowly just breaks everything down. And then every once in a while we get road department to come over and they just turn the piles for us, and it's excellent compost. If anybody's driven by the animal shelter, you will see the beautiful flowers that I have in front of my building. We also have a garden on the side of the building to encourage employees to snack healthy, go out there and pick some peppers and tomatoes. And all of that is with the compost from our compost station. It's really wonderful fertilizer, and it's very environmentally friendly.
Okay.
Just to put in perspective a little bit, I know it's an unpleasant subject, but year to date, we've had 180 large carcasses of deer and farm animals, and I put it into tonnage so people can really understand the magnitude of not disposing of this correctly. That's over 2 tons of dead stock, so it's very important that we manage this correctly, and these grants certainly help us to do that.
And, right, if you're not familiar with it, it's easy to just accept that something's being done somewhere and not realize what that something is.
Yes.
So, right. Thank you, Barbara.
Okay, thank you all.
We take that vote. All right, is there any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Next one is the litter abatement, and this is Becky Zockland.
Good afternoon. asking the court to approve applying for the 2018 litter abatement grant. This is an annual grant. It goes from January to December. It will, we usually get around $70,000, and of that, we spend it on, we primarily spend it rewarding volunteer groups, which are often composed of young people, to go out and pick up litter. And they usually pick up between 50 and sometimes 100 bags per road assignment. These teams use the funds for whatever their need is, uniforms or equipment or what have you. But our main purpose in using these volunteers to pick up litter is hopefully they will come away with an understanding of the litter problem in their community, and they won't be throwing litter out of their vehicles, nor will these people's children. So we're looking for a long-term return on this. We've been doing it a while. We still get litter.
All right, is there a motion to allow us to apply for this grant once again?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? It's a good, positive program. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you, Becky, and thank you for the good job you're doing managing that. Board of Health, all right, I'm going to take this one here. We received a request from the Board of Health to just approve the attached resolution there. We did this 2 years ago, but for some reason the Health and Human Services Cabinet is asking us to sign this paper and send it in. This is a resolution that, if you recall, 2 years ago we set the Health Department tax rate at 2.5 cents, and that's what this says, that the fiscal court approves the public health tax rate of 2.5 cents per hundred of assessed property value for Oldham County. So,
Motion. So moved.
for a second,
Second.
any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. The next thing here is has to do with the bid award on, this is a CERS resolution. I'll take this one as well. You've all had a chance to read over the resolution here in front of us, which is lengthy. I'm not going to read it here at fiscal court today, but essentially, not essentially, but accurately, what this says is that the state is facing a serious pension crisis. As we know, the state pension program is comprised of a number of plans. State employees are covered under one plan, county employees are covered under another, the state police are covered under a third, teachers are covered under an individual plan, and the legislative branch is covered under their own plan. What this resolution does is being circulated among the counties. We're seeking to have the legislature separate the county employees' retirement plan from the state retirement plan. The state retirement plan is, we're told, actuarially funded at about 16% of the commitments that are associated with that plan. The county employees' retirement plan is at 59 or 60% of the commitments associated with that plan. Every year, the counties in Kentucky are obligated to pay in an amount of money to the county employees' retirement plan, and that amount is based on an actuarial assessment of what the projected retirements are going to be based on the number of people employed, plus the responsibility each county has for its previously retired employees. So they give you a number, and that's what you're supposed to pay. Oldham County and other counties in Kentucky have responsibly paid this every year. We have never delayed on it, never tried to put it off into the future or do anything other than step up and meet the obligation that we were assessed. That, I believe, is the same for every county in Kentucky. Nevertheless, if you're listening to the debate about this, the legislature has repeatedly not funded the state portion of the retirement plan. So this has become a very serious debate in our state right now. I think probably everyone is at least aware of the fact it's being debated, and what will be done is up in the air. The legislature is going to have to apparently have a special session to meet with the governor and try to hammer out how these obligations will be met. The county employee retirement program is in much, much better condition than the state retirement plan. So most of the counties in Kentucky, perhaps all of them, employees would like to separate from the state program. Let's take the problem, the serious problem, put it over on the side and let the state deal with it. The counties have successfully funded the retirement for county employees. It's not funded at 100% because of costs associated with the plan and certain investment decisions that were made. The nature of the plan, the provision, the benefits in the plan, the plan document, the decisions about the investments, none of them were made by county employees. They were all made by professional fund managers and the Kentucky retirement system. So the fact that we're funded at 60% or 59% rather than 100% is no reflection on any county, including Oldham. Nevertheless, there is a feeling that we need to get away from the sinking ship. Our safety, our boat here is in the water floating. Another ship nearby us is sinking. We all will be called on, probably as residents of the state, to help turn that boat right side up, but we need to not have our ship drug under by the problems that are out there. Nevertheless, the county last week received a letter from the state, from the pension, and asking for an increased contribution from our county for next year. That increased contribution will be over $1 million if everything stays the same as it is right now. We're currently paying $1.9 million for our share of CERS. It's going to go up to $3 million. So we will be able to absorb that, but many counties in Kentucky, I'm not sure how they'll do it. But the school board is going to be asked for another $1 million based on the participation of certain school employees in the plan. Those are bus drivers, cafeteria workers, custodial workers, secretaries, all the people who are non-certified. Overall, Oldham County residents pay, I believe, around $5.8 million a year into the various retirement plans, not counting the teacher retirement plan, which I have no information about, but into these CERS-related plans, and that's expected to go up by $3 million, more than $3 million countywide. So this is a subject that impacts all of us, and we're all concerned. We all want everyone treated fairly. Nevertheless, I'm under the impression and feeling, and I think others may feel the same way in our employee organization, that we need to separate from KERS. So I have a resolution here in front of us. It's a long resolution, goes on, and I'll spare everyone from reading it, but I'll ask if there's a motion that we pass this resolution.
Second, with comment.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Essentially speaking, many people who are currently on fiscal court, rather than Steve Greenwell and myself, this is an area that has been subject to a lot of discussion over quite a few years. And CERS is, or KERS is trying to take the funding that CERS has put in to help them fund their retirement system because they have not accurately put into their retirement system, and as the judge has stated, is very grossly underfunded. We do not want to be in the same boat as the state. Therefore, that's the purpose of this resolution. So the reason I seconded this is because I'm well aware that this has been going on, the discussions have been going on for at least a decade. And it's time that we say no, since we've been putting in the inaccuracies by the actuaries is a problem also, which has finally been addressed. And so that's why the governor has requested that the retirement system for every agency be looked at in the state. That's all I have.
Anybody else like to comment on this?
Who was the motion made by?
Well, I made the motion, he seconded, and Magistrate Tice?
This is a complicated issue, I'm well aware of. But as being a citizen of the state as well as the county, where does the united we stand, divided we fall play in this at all, or does it? I may abstain from voting because of just not knowing exactly where we are on a very complicated issue.
Magistrate Eldridge?
The only problem I had with this, Judge, was on the back page. It talks about coming from CAECO to change basically nothing in the retirement plan. I don't see how they can right this ship without making some sort of change going forward. I'm not sure about that paragraph where it says, "Now therefore be it resolved by the Executive Committee of the Kentucky Association of Counties that CAECO does hereby urge Governor Bevin and the Kentucky General Assembly to first and foremost honor and fulfill the retirement benefits promised as part of the inviolable contract to all public employees in all retirement systems in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and to fund KERS, SPRS, and TRS going forward at the actuarially determined required levels." I mean, I think they're going to have to make some changes somewhere to right the ship. I'm not sure that this particular resolution allows for that.
Well, it's subject to interpretation, I guess. This resolution is just an expression of support on behalf of those counties that pass it to separate CERS from KERS. Whether or not that actually happens is up in the air. But I think the general expression is, and I understand about taking care of your brother, but the fact of the matter is that we're not a political sitting as a political body, but the governors and the legislature have not taken care of their brothers. They have let them swing from year to year, and now we're backed into a corner as a state. Whether or not we have to get out of it one way or another, but a lot of people think, including I think Senator Joe Bowen from Owensboro has led the effort to separate CERS from KERS and to basically isolate the worst problem in one location rather than contaminate everybody with it. So I would say if this were the plague, and it might be a financial plague, you try to keep most of the people away from the disease and deal with it, the way you have to from a distance. So, but I understand the willingness to not throw your brother overboard, but the people that threw him overboard also have the ability to rescue him. We're just out here in a life raft ourselves. So,
Does the legislative body, do they have their own retirement, or are they under KERS?
They have their own retirement.
But they're not listed. What is theirs?
I don't know that, to be honest. And the judicial has a retirement as well, and those are funded very well.
Separately.
They don't have near the number of people in those retirement plans, but
Are they funded as
they're
poorly?
not in any jeopardy that I'm aware of.
They were 90-something% funded.
Oh,
79, I'd heard, but still way better than anybody
Both
else.
of them are close to 80 was the last number that I saw.
okay.
Magistrate Greenwell.
Thank you, Judge. I agree with Magistrate Tice in the sense that if we break away and take care of our own, as we've been doing, ultimately, every citizen of the Commonwealth is going to have to bail this thing out. So, we're not going to be able to plead ignorance or plead that we can't do it. We're going to have to do it. So, it's a symbolic gesture, I guess, and maybe that'll get somebody's attention, but ultimately, we're all going to have to pull this whole thing out.
Any other comments? All right, motion made and seconded. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries 7-2. Next item is, that would be the Parks Committee. So,
Yes, Judge?
Magistrate
At the-
Leslie?
Yes, at the last fiscal court meeting, we had, this was addressed for elastic for a debris boom at the Westport Park. Pardon me. With a bid, was a sole bidder Elastic out of Carmi, Illinois for $16,293. They were the only ones who bid on this particular boom. Pardon me. And it's supposed to help the debris from collecting on the shores of Westport Park and allow it to go downstream. So I'm making the motion that we accept this bid.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded that we go ahead and buy this boom for Westport Park to help keep debris off the riverbank over there. Is there any discussion on this? Magistrate Logson?
Will it be insured? The boom?
Is it insured? Yes. Everything we have is insured.
Well, if you ever seen a flood get up about 8 foot, that boom won't be there very long.
Judge, this is made to allow for changing in the river level,
Let's see that.
so it
Any other-
floats on top of the
okay,
water.
Floats on the, okay. That's any other questions about it?
Does it
Magistrate Greenwell?
stay in the river 365 days a year?
No,
Nope.
no, we take it out,
Okay. And who, when we say we take it out, who takes it out?
the county,
I understand, but
the Parks Department, or
Okay.
the Road Department.
Any other questions about it? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you. Now we're down to Road Committee reports. Magistrate Greenwell.
Thank you, Judge. The first one on the list is the bid award for the road resurfacing project, Cardinal Harbor, Shallow Lane. Scott, you want to come on up? I got a feeling there's might be going to question this, might be some questions about this. I met with Scott and new engineer Derek Shade last week, and we went over the bids, the pertinent ones, and we've decided to award the bid to Wingham Paving for $727,954.32 based on their past performance. And I'm making that into the form of a motion.
Okay. All right. Moved and seconded that the Harrods Creek road work, not Harrods Creek, but Cardinal Harbor road work be awarded to Wingham Paving based on past performance. Is there any discussion about this? I think the question that last week, I was a little shocked at the number of the bid, but we have an extensive amount of road work in this bid. Did you want
The
to
last
address that?
couple, thank you, Judge. The last couple of bids that we did were multiple packages. There were groups of 2, 3, sometimes 4 roads together in various spots of the county. So we grouped them together in subgroups. These are all in one location, so this is one large set of roads. If you added all the bids up for each group, we were in the $700,000 to $800,000 range. This is one group. We're actually getting the bids for 46 cents a square foot. We last paid for 50 cents a square foot, so we're actually, it's a cheaper bid than we got last time.
All right. Anyone have any comment? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Judge. Next on the agenda is the Briar Hill Road into the county road system, and I'm going to recuse myself from this and let Magistrate Leslie handle this.
Thank you. This group came to us in the road committee at our last meeting, wanting to come into the road system. And our county engineer has gone through everything that they needed to do to ensure the fact that it did come into the system. And as we have required in the past, for there to be a moratorium on certain work to be done on their roads, it's also in the stipulation of this contract where there's a 3-year moratorium from date of acceptance, being today, to the county performing any drainage or pavement repair. And I'm going to make the motion that we do accept Briar Hill Road into the county road system.
Second.
Right, moved and seconded that Briar Hill be accepted into the county road system. Is there any discussion about this?
I had a question.
Mr. Tice.
Yeah, I had a question on that in regards to that we wouldn't be expected to repair the roads for a period of 3 years. And I need a little help on that, Scott, if you would, please.
Certainly. We wrote up a petition, the county attorney and I, along with Briar Hill Taxing District itself. The petition that 51%, or at least 51%, it was closer to 90% of the residents signed to petition the court to become county road. This was the language they used. They volunteered a 3-year moratorium against pavement and drainage work.
Got it. And I know you haven't been here very long, so this will be a general question to, I guess, the court. Is it normal for us to not expect, in other words, accept a road into the county and not expect to do maintenance if something pops up next year?
There are certain conditions. This is actually the second one I've done. We brought in a road earlier, about my second month here, and we made a 3-year moratorium on paving the road. That was it. It was a patchwork of paving. It qualified as a county road, but it could easily dilapidate over the next year or two and jump to the front of the overlay schedule. So to prevent that, we put a moratorium on paving it for a number of years, and they agreed to it. In this case, I was only going to suggest a moratorium on drainage work because that's what they had to do to bring it up to county standard. The pavement looks really good. They volunteered the pavement moratorium themselves. We accepted it.
Okay, and going from past, I always assumed when we accepted it that everything met our standards so that we could expect to maintain stuff. Are we taking in some stuff that are on the edge side that maybe it needs more work done to it?
Well, the definition of our standards are 9 inches of DGA,
Yes.
which is dense base, 4 inches of base asphalt, and 1 inch of asphalt.
All right.
Doesn't say anything about the condition of that asphalt and that DGA. Doesn't say that it's brand new. This road obviously can't be brand new. If you're a developer and you're building a subdivision and you put the roads in, and 2 years later you've done a majority of the homes and you want to come in, it's pretty close to brand new, but that's the only situation that would be.
I understand what you're saying there, but my assumption was always, and I'll use Borwick, and I don't know the name of the road that we just did about a year ago, where it was resurfaced, and then the street had already brought it up to standards, and we took it in. Do you happen to remember the name of the? One of them was Bittersweet. Bittersweet, okay. And I just assumed that all roads that we took in would be, I won't say brand-new condition, but in very new condition. And if we're going to be doing the others, I'm a little concerned about that. First time I'd ever thought about it as it meets all of our standards, but it's an old road. Yeah,
Judge?
we're
I
taking
think I'd
in
like
old
to address
roads, and
that.
I'm concerned.
Magistrate Tice, they're the ones who put this into the contract. And I think part of the reason they decided to do this is because they wanted the road to be accepted to the county. And to ensure that if anything happens through the next 3 years, they will be responsible for that through their taxing association. And we discussed this in the road committee, that they actually pay X amount per year to maintain the roads, pay off any debts, and the county is not responsible for any of those things. So the county engineer has stipulated drainage, they stipulated paving. That's their language, and that's what the majority of the people accepted on their petition. And so I'm saying, well, we need to accept this into the county road system with their stipulations. And so there's no indebtedness from the county to repair the roads or the drainage for the next 3 years. I hope that answers your question.
It answers the question on this road, but what we've just discussed poses a new question, and that's where I was kind of going with my questions to Scott, is that I just assumed as we took roads into the county that we'd have something that would not mean maintenance for 20 years, a la a brand-new road,
I'm
a new
sorry, Magistrate.
subdivision road.
Nothing does not need maintenance for 20 years.
Pardon?
There's no such thing as something that doesn't need maintenance for 20
Okay,
years.
excuse me.
Yeah.
10 years. Give me another. You're the engineer.
5.
Okay. 5 years?
Yeah.
You mean a brand-new road that's
No,
put down
maintenance.
won't need maintenance for 5?
It should have maintenance. It should have required crack sealing or have a new AC added over depending on the road, depending on the use, depending on what kind of vehicles run on it, the average daily traffic. Everything needs maintenance.
Judge, I'd like to address that. And I think Magistrate Likens can address this, and it has to do with for instance, a truck over a certain weight will have tremendously more damage to the road than ordinary automobile traffic. Could you address that, please?
Well, I remember the number of 93,000 cars.
Mic on.
Pardon?
Microphone on.
Yes. 93,000 cars equals one overloaded truck on a road. So that's the figure that is used, and trucks are primarily, when they're overweight, they will tear up a road.
Okay, pardon?
I just have one thing. After if fiscal court approves this, we need to have the petition from the adjoining property owners made a part of the record in the clerk's office, so we'll know what happened. Because we have to have them ask us to take the road into the county road system, otherwise it constitutes a taking. So we have to have that petition as a part of the record. Normally, we just file that with the minutes, and she doesn't have it, right?
I believe we have it now. Here.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions or comments about this recommendation? Magistrate Dye.
Yes, this road's in my district. I think the road is 2 years old. Was paid 2 years ago, I believe. Now, at the road district's expense, not the county expense.
If I may, the road is in excellent shape. There was never any thought for us to put a pavement maintenance or any other moratorium in that respect. The drainage needed work. The crossroad culverts, the driveway culverts, over time they all silt in. They all fill up a little bit, and no maintenance had been done in that respect. So they were all dug out, they were all cleaned, a few were replaced. We wanted to see how is the environment going to react to these pipes now? Is it going to fill them right back in? and if so, then they'll have to do something else to make it work. But once we know that what they did will work, we don't mind maintaining it.
That's correct. They've done everything they were asked to do on their dime. Actually, we've taken in a quote close to new road with everything that is operational at this point. So, it's not like they came in with a junky road and needed a lot of work and did it on the taxpayer's dime. It wasn't done that way. They did it. The road district paid for everything, came to us, said, okay, we'd like to get in, here's the road. Mr. Harris and his group looked at it, and it's a good road. It was a good road before they asked us, and it still is a good road. So,
Any further discussion? We have motion and second. And hearing that, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you.
I recused.
One recusal there. Vote was 8-0 with one recusal. Now we're at the erosion control bond release for the Harrods Creek subdivision. Take that.
Judge, I'll ask Scott Harris to come forward and walk us through both of these.
Thank you, Magistrate. We do sediment and erosion control bonds on all projects that come before the county, all developments. And when you're done with your project, you've stabilized all the earth, you've removed your silt fences, you've cleaned it all up, and everything's functioning well, we give you your bond back. So this is one of those situations. Harrods Crossing subdivision has met all those requirements. We have done inspections, we've filed reports with pictures, all the appropriate boards were copied on these things, and their erosion control bond in the amount of $16,500 is being recommended to be returned.
I'd like to make that recommendation.
Second.
All right, discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Next.
Here.
Go ahead, Scott.
Okay. The next is for the Harrods Crossing subdivision performance bond. At some point, when you're building your infrastructure, you decide you've built enough to start selling lots and building homes, at which point we make you bond the rest of those improvements. Typically, some sidewalk on some empty lots, the last 1.5 inches of asphalt over the roadway, that's a performance bond. When you get to a certain point and want to turn over the development to a homeowner association, you go ahead and do the rest of that work listed on that bond, and we inspect it and write a report with pictures again and approve it. In this case, Harrods Crossing Boulevard, West View Court, and West Side Court all are being recommended for a total of $52,000 bond to be released back for the Harrods Crossing subdivision.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made and second to release the performance bond for the Harrods Crossing subdivision. The amount's $52,000. Discussion? Mr. Greenwell.
Thank you, Judge. Can we also take the 3 roads into the county road system, or does it need to be a separate motion?
That needs to be separate.
Okay.
They haven't petitioned for that.
Okay.
Okay.
He asked me a question, I just want to answer.
Any, Mr. Ties?
Yes, I have a question. Once the road meets all of our standards and we've approved releasing the bonds, and I think we discussed this one other time and I don't remember the outcome of the conversation, isn't it automatic that we accept them or we take them into the county?
No, they could remain a private road.
Is that okay? And by them remaining a private road, do we still, yeah, I assume we would. We'd still look at the erosion control and all of that to release those bonds, even if they chose to stay as a private road.
Judge?
I think they haven't petitioned to come into the county yet because that requires 51% of the lots to be occupied with homes, and I don't think that might be the case. But in any respect, it is their decision when they want to become a county road. It is, as far as I know, their intent to become a county road. But whether it's a public road or a private road, we would get to this point. We would do these two things.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. Okay. You got into that one just at the end. Okay.
Magistrate Leslie.
Yeah, Magistrate Tice, we have done this previously where someone has decided they want the road to be private, but they wanted to release the bonds.
Yeah, okay.
And so this
I'm good
is
with it.
very normal.
Yeah, the releasing of this performance bond just means they finished building the roads and the storm sewers, and, you know, it's stabilized, you know, it's ready for people to live in.
Okay.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Yes.
Okay, what about taking them into consent?
No, we're not,
Don't have
no,
to do that?
no, that's, that was separate. And that's not requested at this point.
It is on the letter, Judge, but I guess we're not doing this at that time because they haven't done the petition.
You gotta have a little more than that.
Okay.
I mean, you gotta have a petition and signed by the homeowners. Next item here is the new interchange preliminary study for an interchange at I-71 and Louis Dampier Bridge. Jim Urban.
Good afternoon, Judge, Magistrates, Ms. Sheila. Sheila, if you wouldn't mind putting on the overhead, I'd appreciate it. I think everyone knows that there's a significant amount of infrastructure that's needed in order to support the development of Oldham Reserve. And in terms of roadways, there are a number of pieces that have either been put in place, being put in place, or planned. And you can all remember that a couple years ago, we opened the Louis Dampier Bridge, which goes over I-71, connecting Commerce Parkway to New Moody Lane. Currently, LaGrange Parkway is being built, a 2-mile road going through Oldham Reserve and connecting from the Dampier Bridge on the south side to the intersection of Blakemore Lane on Kentucky 53. Another piece to the north is Allen Lane will be realigned going underneath the railroad track connecting to 146. And then the last and most significant piece that we need for access to Oldham Reserve is ramps connecting the Louis Dampier Bridge and I-71, both north and south. So in order to effectively promote and secure funding for that construction, the county has decided to seek engineering services to determine the best configuration of those ramps. So a while back, we put out RFQs, which are requests for qualifications for engineering firms to submit to us for that ramp configuration. And 2 companies submitted, and we opened the bids a couple of fiscal court meetings ago. HMB Engineering and Palmer Engineering submitted proposals. And a committee met and evaluated, scored, and ultimately selected HMB as the preferred consultant. So then the next step, since these were qualification-based proposals, was to negotiate both scope of services and also a contract amount for the firm that was selected. And again, that's HMB. And in your packets, you have a copy of their proposal that was submitted to us after we've kind of refined scope of services and a number of different things. And today you're being asked to consider approving that. Now, what I want to do, you did not get these because we've been talking to them, is show you that there'll be 2 pages that'll be added to the contract, and it does not affect the bottom line number, but it explains one thing in particular, one line item. And that's that there are environmental overview by HMB of $8,855. And in the production hours, we didn't have a sheet explaining how many hours were going to be used to actually fulfill that. So they submitted a sheet with their production hours, which is a grand total of 61. And then attached to that, we said, okay, well, what are we getting for those 61 hours? So this is in the form of an email that you can see I just got yesterday, but we'll put it into the contract. And that's a listing of 7 items that they will perform under those environmental overview tasks. So again, you're being asked to consider approving and allowing the judge to sign this contract for $29,282 with HMB, including these 2 pages, both the production hours and ultimately this description of the services.
So moved.
Is that included? I'm sorry, second?
All right, moved and seconded. Discussion?
Does that include the environmental, this 29,000?
Yes,
That's what I'm saying,
yes,
okay.
yeah, this is, the two sheets I'm showing you just, I explain what, production hours and then the scope of those services.
All right, does anybody have any other questions here? All right. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item is the Commerce Parkway survey with professional services contract, and that would be Magistrate Tice.
Yes, Judge. We brought it up in court just as general discussion 2 or 3 months ago in regards to a study that we wanted to run on Commerce Parkway in regards to what's on and in the ground and the future use, and then and the future traffic needs, and then what do we need to expand, how do we need to expand the road to make it accommodate to that. Today we've broken it out in 3 parts, and today we want to bring forward from what we bid out for not engineering firms, but surveying firms to do the work to give us the first part of that is what's on, in, and where all of our stuff lays in the right-of-way. So the lowest bid that we've got and what we'd like to recommend to accept is Palmer, and it's $22,100. I believe I had that memorized.
All right, moved and seconded that we hire Palmer Engineering to do a professional contract or analysis of Commerce Parkway to determine where all of the underground infrastructure is located and help us get it prepared for the commercial development. We have 2 locations in this county, Commerce Parkway and Oldham Reserve, plus some of Highway 146 that are certainly open to new businesses locating here that would help raise our employment level and also support our property tax. So I think it's important that we have this information at hand. Is there any discussion on this? Magistrate Tice?
We may have one thing, and so everybody know, this I don't believe is in our budget, but what we'll have to do is take it out of reserves, or we'll find room for it at a later date as it comes forward.
All right. Any discussion on it? Okay. All right. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you. Next item is the Jail Committee report. Magistrate Dye.
Yes, Judge, the jail committee met today, and in regards to the inmate telephone system, we'd like to recommend to the court to accept the bid from Combined Public Communications.
All right, moved and seconded that Combined Communications be awarded the contract for the inmate telephone system at the detention center. Is there any discussion on that? The committee went through that, and we've looked at these things hard, so we're not skimming over them. Magistrate Greenwell?
Thank you, Judge. I just want to thank Stan Clark and Melissa for doing a lot of the legwork on this and crunching the numbers and everything and making it where it's halfway understandable to the committee members.
I second that, and I'm sure Magistrate Eldridge does too.
Sir, all right. Anything else that we want?
That's it.
Okay. All right, hearing no other questions, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No one opposed, the motion passes. We're back now to public comment, and that part during the meeting here, when if anybody's come in and would like to say something, we're certainly willing to listen to you. I think David Bazanis from Oldham County Chamber is here.
Yes, thank you, Judge and Magistrates. I was just, I thought it'd be a good opportunity for me to commend this group on the work that they're doing with trying to move our infrastructure forward and helping us as a community as we work to grow and bring in good quality jobs and grow our tax base. I just want to thank you for the efforts that you're doing, that Magistrate Tice has done with the Economic Development Committee and Magistrate Loxton and Magistrate Greenwell, as well as the effort from Jim Urban's office as well. So I just wanted to go on record saying thank you for your work and helping us get some of this infrastructure improvements through and being proactive about it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? All right. Hearing none, we'll close the public comment, and I guess we're going to wind up with our meeting here today. We had a couple of magistrates who were pretty quiet today, and they're going to get their chance to speak now. All right, let's do this different this time. Magistrate Hounds, would you like to say anything?
No, sir, I'm good, thank you.
That was your chance today, you know. Magistrate Eldridge?
Thank you, Judge. The City of LaGrange is going to have its State of the Community Address and meeting tomorrow night. Again, that'll be tomorrow night, September 20th, 7 o'clock. Should last a couple of hours. Refreshments and desserts will be there, lots of guest speakers, and that is at City Place in LaGrange. Again, tomorrow night at 7. Thank you.
Magistrate Dye?
Nothing, unusually, but nothing.
All right, nothing, all right. Magistrate Logston?
Nothing, Judge.
All right, well, how about Magistrate Greenwell?
Nothing, Judge.
Magistrate Leslie?
I'm good, thank you.
Magistrate Tice?
Nothing, Judge, thank you.
Magistrate Likens?
Just repeating our, from last time, we're having our tour of the county-owned buildings starting a week from today, 9 o'clock, and we're going to meet at the police station and go from there.
All right, thank you. All right, I don't have that much myself today, other than don't forget the tire event coming up on, was it next week? What day do we have? Pardon?
It's coming
This
Thursday,
coming-
Friday, Saturday.
Thursday, pardon? Yeah, this week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the fairgrounds. If you're not a commercial entity, you can bring any tires you have around your garage, property, or whatever, and bring them there, and we'll just get them disposed of. Magistrate Greenwell?
Judge, I think you misspoke. It's at the State Highway Garage.
Oh, is
Not
it?
the Fairgrounds.
Okay, sorry.
Off of Highway 293 North.
Your mic wasn't on, was it? Okay. It's at the State Highway Garage. You got that mixed up. Most of our events are at the fairgrounds, but this is at the State Highway Garage on Highway 393 North. So, all right.
Yes, I think you're thinking possibly of the hazardous waste, which is going to be at the fairgrounds.
Right, that's going to be coming up. That's always a good one to get rid of stuff that you can't get rid of any other way. And there's a legitimate way to dispose of these products, and that's it. So, well, we thank everybody for being with us today. It's been another good day in Oldham County, and we love our county, love our residents, and are looking forward to a beautiful fall here. So, is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.